Here are the 3 best ways to approach a job interview. So first things first, ignore what people tell you. Do not be open-minded, okay? Now, our whole lives, when we're in school, when we're in university, and even when we're starting our job hunt, people always advise us to be open-minded to a range of careers. Now, one thing that I've noticed in my time in working in recruitment and that period of when I first finished university and I was trying to get my first full-time job, the biggest reason why I wasn't progressing with these jobs was from the recruiters or the hiring managers themselves. They were telling me that they didn't progress with me because they didn't understand specifically what I wanted. Okay, so a lot of the time when we're looking for these first full-time jobs, we're told to be open-minded. We're told that we have a degree, just get anything associated with that degree. It's good in one aspect because, again, it opens your opportunities for applying, but from that point, it actually weakens your chances of progressing. Reason being is that companies hire predictability. That is the number one reason why people would hire somebody. They hire someone because they know the value that they're getting. Okay? If you're not able to explain to them, 1, why you want the job, 2, what about the job attracts you, and 3, where you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years, you're not going to be able to compete with the person who has the exact same background as you but can answer those 3 questions. Okay, so first things first, do not be open-minded. Okay, when you are applying for jobs, try to find 1 to 2 career paths that genuinely attract you, that you can genuinely go into detail and explain why you want to enter that career path and why this first job is going to help you get there and why that first job interests you as well. So you need to be specific, you need to be to the point, and you need to be incredibly detailed to explain why you want the opportunity and how the opportunity is going to help you progress in this field of work. The more specific you are, the better aligned you will be. Number 2, in saying that, be specific in what you want and don't be afraid to reject yourself, okay? The other reason why people, I believe, go wrong in interviews is that because you're so open to everything, this kind of creates a perception that you're quite desperate for a job, okay? Which, look, you probably are in some aspect, and there's nothing wrong with that. We've got our degree, we want to enter the real world, we want to be, adults and whatnot. There is that desperate energy to get a full-time job. I understand it completely. I was in that exact same position a year ago. But the problem is that the more open-minded you are, the more open you are to different lanes, different everything, people get a perception that you are desperate. People get a perception that you will take any opportunity and that you're saying all these things for this role right here, but if we offered you another opportunity in a completely different field of work, you would say the same things. Which to you, you may be thinking, yes, that's really, really good because I'm open-minded and I'm taking all these different opportunities. But in reality, you're not showing predictability. You're not showing the hiring manager safety. You're not giving them assurances that you are going to, do this job, do it properly, and actually stay in it for the next 6, 12, 18 months. Okay? I'll give you guys a quick story. When I first started in recruitment, one of the first interviews I sat in on was for a junior role where we were interviewing a uni grad. And we were doing the interview and he was basically saying how he is open to doing a bunch of different roles in the industry, doesn't really know his end goal, but he knows he wants to be in this particular industry and he'll take any opportunity to start. We wrapped up the interview and I said to my colleague, wow, he is amazing. He is happy to do any role ever. He's open, he's versatile. That's so good, isn't it? And he straight away looked at me and said, he's a no. And I was like, what? Why? Like, he's open to all these different jobs. He wants to do this, he wants to do that, blah, blah, blah. And then he said to me, yeah, he wants this job now until the next shiny toy comes out and he leaves and he moves on. And that's when I realized. I said, look, I realized that from that point in is that particularly if you're going through a recruitment agency, 1, you got to understand recruiters do not want to take the reputation hit, okay? They don't want to be responsible for hiring somebody and then having to replace them for free, knowing that they're going to have that reputation now of hiring people and having poor judgment of character and hiring people that are going to jump ship after 3, 6, 9 months, etc. And also the businesses themselves. The businesses don't want to waste their time because they probably need this ideal candidate in as soon as possible to improve their own workflow. And if they waste their time hiring someone who's going to leave after 3 months after doing a poor job, that messes up their own flow, that messes up their own finances, and also wastes their own money because now they're paying for this recruiter who's just wasted their time and money. They're wasting their internal money because they're trying to find this ideal candidate. They're running all these ads, they're doing all these different things and wasting everybody's time doing all these different stages of interviews. just for this to happen, because this first candidate just didn't know what he wanted. So obviously, once you get hired, all of that part is out of your control, and it's not your responsibility either. You're not the recruiter, you're not the person with the final say. I get all of that. But you need to understand how the recruiters see these things, how the hiring managers see these things. So it's very, very important that you go into it, you are clear, you are specific, you tell them what you want, and if they tell you what the role is and it doesn't align with what you want, don't be afraid to reject it. Okay? You don't want to be known as a desperate candidate. Have that, have that courage, have that confidence in yourself to be like, look, fair enough, you can still do the interview, still present professionally, but afterwards, don't be afraid to just reach out and be like, look, I'm after A, B, and C. This role has X, Y, Z. It doesn't really align with me. I'm happy to keep in touch for another opportunity. And they will respect you so much more. Okay? So that's another thing, all right? Be specific in what you want and don't be afraid to reject yourself from the opportunity. And number 3, understand the alignment from a personal perspective, okay? So yes, if you want to be at this specific role in 10 years' time, understand, will this get you there in 10 years' time? And also understand, will this current job unlock your best skill sets, okay? So you need to really, really think about it. If you feel like your strong points are talking, good communication, being able to sell, you want to be out there, you want to be talking to people, okay? You want to be able to represent the company, you want to have internal communication responsibility, whatever it is. If you feel like talking is your strength, really, really think about it. If doing a starting role, which will get you to your end goal, but just think if the starting role is very admin heavy, you're not going to be talking much, it's very structured, it's going to be boring, it's going to be mundane, really think about that, okay? Just something to consider. Okay, think if there is a better starting opportunity, should you proceed with that, or are you genuinely comfortable with taking this hit to your skill set and your day-to-day life where you may not really enjoy the work for these next 2-3 years, but it'll help you get there at the end goal. Okay, so that's something else you need to think about very, very carefully, is understanding that alignment and really, really taking the time to think about it and think, okay, does this role, will it get the best out of me, and does it align with what I genuinely want to do for the short term as well? Okay, so a good actionable step here is genuinely, after you do your interview, give it a good 24 hours, look into the company, really think about the role, really think about the day-to-day, and make sure you're extracting that information as well when you're doing your interview. Make sure you really understand what you're going to be doing on a day-to-day and what they want from you from a characteristic standpoint, and genuinely take a step back and think, is this the best role for me? Okay, number one mistake grads make is they take any job over the right job for them. So don't make that same mistake and jump at the first opportunity just because it is better than nothing. Sometimes you're better off going an extra 1 to 2 months of unemployment to wait for that role that's going to be a 7 out of 10 fit for yourself, rather than just jumping at the first job that attracts to you, the first job that offers you any position that gives you full-time stability, but it's 3 out of 10 alignment and you're going to hate it for the next 3 years anyways. Okay, these are some things to think about. I really hope that you guys got some value from the video. If you are interested in working with me on a one-to-one level, there's a link below for a free consultation. We can have a 30-minute chat. I'll work out your goals, understand what you want, and we can work together on a closer level on a more permanent basis. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you. See ya.